Welcome back to Talkin Texas Forever, a Friday Night Lights podcast. I'm Michelle,
And I'm Liz.
and we're discussing slash crying over
Ugh.
this week's episode. Oh my gosh, season 3, episode 11, A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall, written by Bridget Carpenter and directed by Michael Waxman. So in this episode, Buddy tries to use Tim to get to Lyla, who's still mad about losing her college fund to a business deal. Plus more, plus more, plus more. But this was the nice little summary that we have. Oh my gosh, how this episode, Liz. Oh my
It
God.
was so
I
good.
know.
It was really, really good. It had everything. I was going to burp. Had everything I was looking for in a Friday Night Lights episode. For
I
sure.
know. And we're so close to the end.
I know.
Next week's episode is so emotional.
Oh, God.
Like the next two are so, so good. And yeah, I mean, we always say like the show is more than just football, right? But the football scenes that happen next week, I legitimately was like sobbing over. Like they hit me hard.
Wow.
I know. We're not there yet, and I don't mean to rush, but I just had to like give my 2 cents about that.
Yeah,
But
okay, I'm excited.
yeah, let's start with Tyra. So Tyra is planning Mindy's bridal shower, and Mindy wants it to be classy and she wants it to be a tea party, which I think is hysterical.
I love this idea.
So while Tyra is out shopping at the grocery store for things for the party, she bumps into Landry, and Landry offers his help to, I have a scone recipe. I can help you make sandwiches. And at one point, we have a scene where Tyra gets a panicked call from Mindy, and Landry takes the call and tells Mindy, like, we have it handled. You're not moving anything else around. We got it.
Flirty vibes. Flirty vibes in the supermarket.
A little bit.
Definitely, obviously, more on Tyra's part this time around. But Landry, he's like
Mm.
he's feeding into it. He's
Mm-hmm.
not, because why wouldn't he? He's definitely not over that whole aspect of their relationship. He's like, yeah, I'd be okay with this if this happened again.
Well,
So
of course.
he wasn't completely ignoring it. He was kind of feeding into it a little bit. So I was like, oh, okay, we're going there a little bit more this week.
Yeah. I mean, he brings up the fact that they have another gig. Like Cruiser Victorious has another gig, and she's like, oh, I'm so happy for you. So I feel like both parties feel like we're good now.
Right.
The whole give
Yeah.
and take thing is no longer an issue, it seems.
Right. Like Landry got over that, and Tyra's like, I'm over you calling me selfish, and we're good.
Right.
Plus, then
Right.
she asks for his help, like, oh, are you helping me?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, okay, I guess I will. Because the open invitation is my mom has the recipe. So,
Right.
therefore, he has to help her in some capacity by at least giving her the recipe. But I was like, okay, you could have given her the recipe and then that was it. You didn't have to like help her with everything.
Yeah,
But
but we knew that wasn't going to be the case. We knew Landry would be there helping chop the vegetables and what have you. And during the scene where he's at the Colette's helping her prepare the sandwiches, she does bring up the fact that she did get her SAT scores. And so she shows him, and it went up by 100 points. And Landry gives her this speech of girls that look like you usually don't have to try, but I'm really proud of you. I liked this scene, but I also felt like it was a backhanded compliment.
right. Like you're a pretty girl. You don't necessarily need to have good grades,
Right.
but it's really good that you had these and I'm proud of you. We didn't have to we know she's attractive and he
Right.
knows she's attractive.
Right.
She knows he thinks she's attractive. So he didn't have to say like you're a pretty girl and you're smart too. He could have just been like, "You know what? Actually, you really worked hard for this and you should just be proud of yourself." That's it.
Exactly.
We didn't have
That's
to
how
go
I
about the
felt.
looks thing.
I
Yeah,
know.
I agree.
But then it was like it's set up for this flirty statement
Flirty banter. Yeah,
after
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because she's like, so you think I'm still good looking, And he was like, yeah, you still had your looks. Like they bantered back and forth with that. So the day of the shower comes, they set everything up outside. In the beginning of the episode, Tyra talks about how she can't believe that Mindy wants a shower outside in the middle of December. So we know that weather can be an issue. And so her and Landry set everything up, and then a storm rolls in. So they rush to set everything up inside. It works out. So Mindy, she shows up. She loves her shower. She makes a really sweet speech about Tyra, and that even though Tyra is the youngest, she does look up to her and she loves her tie, which this was
Hmm.
so cute and sweet. And I loved this. And then after the party, Billy comes, picks up Mindy, they leave, and Tyra starts crying. And she says to her mom, "Why can't I want this? Why can't I be happy with the idea of this?" And Angela, who is the best in this episode, tells Tyra, like, with your sister, I love her. She's my firstborn, but she never surprised me. And you always surprise me. And you're going to do great things. And you're going to surprise yourself. It's just really
Yeah.
sweet.
It was so sweet. Definitely some tears were shed
Yeah.
here. And at first I thought Tyra meant, why don't I want to be like married and in a relationship, is how I first took it. But then the more she like opens up about her wanting to go to college so bad and how she feels like it's so far away from her, and I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not just the relationship. It's like she actually doesn't want that life because it seems like too easy. She wants something that she's been striving for, and she feels like she's not going to get there. And Angela's like, you're good. You whatever you do, you'll be fine, because I never have to worry about you like exploring and doing something against the grain, against like the normal Tyra thing, because she's always done things differently.
Yeah. Lyla, as we know, she's been staying with Tim and the Riggins since the fallout with Buddy. And this is really cute because we see her and Billy and Mindy and Tim become like a foursome and they're hanging out,
I love.
right? And playing video games. And Mindy's like, "You were lame, but now you're kind of cool." So, but we see kind of the tables turn here because Tim, he goes off, he goes to bed. He's like, "Are you coming?" She's like, "No, I'm staying up." The next morning, she wants to stay in bed. He's like, "I'm leaving. I'm going to class." She just wants to stay depressed in her blanket tent. And you wrote in the chat, "Let her be. Her father sucks."
Yeah, like this girl has been on since she probably came out of the womb. So like
Yeah.
give her a second to just catch up emotionally to what's happening in her life. Plus, yes, well, I know she's feeling sorry for herself. Like she's allowed to miss a day of school. But granted, I don't know, has she missed previous days of school? Like is this a pattern? I also didn't understand why he was mad that Lyla was staying up, and then I realized, oh, I guess it was a school night.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what do you care if she keeps playing video games? Like, how late could it possibly be? But I liked that dynamic. I liked utilizing that storyline for her as a device between her and Tim. I liked this whole thing. I really liked it.
Oh, I love it. I mean, talk about swoon worthy Tim in this episode.
Oh God.
I mean,
So much.
oh my
So
God.
much.
At school, Buddy approaches Tim and says, "We have to have a man to man talk." And he asks Tim, "How is Lyla doing? I really need her to come home." And Tim tells him, like, "You just have to give her more space. She definitely does miss you." And what's funny is they drive off, and there's this really funny line where Tim's like, "Sir, are you going to bring me back to get my truck, or am I going to have to
Do I
walk?"
have to walk,
Yeah,
Mr. Garrity? And he's like,
Mr. Garrity,
you're good.
"You're a good man, Tim. I'm going to bring you back. It's okay. It's okay." Lyla ends up stopping at home to collect clothes, and she goes through the mail, and she in fact does see that she gets into Vanderbilt. Buddy walks in on this moment, and she tells him how she got in, but how is she going to pay for it? So
And she's still pissed because of course she's pissed.
of course she's pissed. Like, how could you not be? So then Tim gets inspired to bring her to church. And I said this is like a low key Christmas episode. We know it's taking place in December, and also that the choir is singing a Christmas carol, "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," in the background. And Tim's like, "I wanted to take you here to see if this would cheer you up." And she goes, I don't know why you did this. Did my dad tell you to do this? And she runs out. She's hysterically, she gets upset and she's like, I should have went with my family. I don't know why I stayed. I have no family. And Tim consoles her. He's like,
Mm.
you have me.
Yeah,
What
he's her family.
what did you think about Tim trying to bring her to church?
When he first started dating her, or when they were first hooking up, that was her MO, is I'm going to change my life again and, start going to church and being really heavily involved in the church. So I
Yeah.
guess to him, he didn't really know what else makes her happy. Like, obviously, we know she stopped cheerleading. That didn't make her happy. She doesn't really have many other friends besides Tim. And now, like, Lyla, and
Mindy.
Mindy and Billy, like, she doesn't really exist with anyone else. So I feel like he's like, what do I do to make her happy? Like, what would make her happy? And that was a good thought process, I think. But she feels maybe almost like an imposter. Like, I don't belong here anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I gave up on this, even though I don't know if she did, but to the audience, she doesn't really talk about that anymore. Kind of just like faded as she started to date Tim.
Right.
Again, it just kind of like faded into the abyss, and we're like, oh wait, does Lyla still care about Christianity? Like, we don't really know. It'll still always be a part of her, but she doesn't talk about it anymore.
Right. It's not really part of her identity.
Right. And I feel maybe she feels like a little bit like her identity is lost because she doesn't know if she's going to school.
Yeah. Yeah. So after the game, Tim and Lyla, they head home, they hang out, and she's like, why don't you want to go to the parties? He's like, no, we go to the parties after state. And I really just want to hang out with my girl. And he has a real talk with her and says, I know you're not happy here. And I'm here to support you. Whatever you want to do, that is my role. And they talk about Vanderbilt, and he's like, there's scholarships. And if you don't end up going there, San Antonio State and I would love to have you. And he says he's madly in love with her. And this is where I just melt into a puddle.
Into into Alex Mack, right?
Just
Like,
out. Out.
it was perfection
It really
in a
was.
way to say, when you want to say I love you to someone, this was like one for the books. Chef's kiss, 100, 200 out of 100, like, beautiful.
It's so
And
good.
she's like, I love, like, it just was their perfect I love you moment.
Yeah.
And I felt it all. I shockingly, even though I shat on them for seasons, I really enjoy this. I really do.
I love this relationship.
Yeah,
I
this is
think
good.
it works really well and they complement each other very well.
I agree. I didn't see it before, but now that Tim he's becoming a little bit more serious, and also like he is in love. So he wants to keep up with the Joneses and impress his girlfriend and make sure that he's on the right track and that she's happy.
Yep.
That's really important. And she's kind of like relaxed a little bit and sees how much Tim cares about her and how that's good for her too. It's
Yeah.
just, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Good. I love it. I forgot that I liked them so much together.
Well, maybe
And
you didn't, and now you really are feeling it again.
again, when I watched the show with Anthony one time through, it's different when you like watch it with a girlfriend or you're like, oh my God, it's so hot. I love this relationship. Aunt and I were just watching and we're like, wow, this show's so great. But I really didn't pay
Right.
attention so much to couples. But that's why it's way more fun this time around.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So in the beginning of the episode, we have Grandma and Shelby. They're going to the store, and Grandma puts up a fight because she doesn't want to go with Shelby. And she gets upset. And as Shelby starts driving, Grandma falls out of the car.
Yeah, she thinks she left her purse there, so she like isn't aware of her spatial,
Yeah.
like where she is, and just decides she's gonna leave, but the car was already moving.
Right. And so she falls, she hits her head. They go to the hospital. Everything is okay, but the doctor has a real talk with Matt. And and says you really should think about her living arrangements. Her mental health is deteriorating. You
Very
really need to
much.
take, very much so.
Yeah.
And Matt doesn't want to hear it. And he ends up flipping out on Shelby, even though Shelby is trying to be supportive and be like, listen, Matt, like, I hear what you're saying. I hear what the doctor's saying. But Matt kind of has blinders on right now and doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah. Tunnel vision, because again, that's like something he can't really deal with right now.
Right.
It's like, I have
Yeah.
so much other stuff to do and I know I need help, but I've needed help this whole time. And it's kind of just like this issue that he's already known needs to be addressed, but he doesn't feel like he has the tools to do it. And now it's just getting worse and worse, and he can't really avoid it anymore.
Yeah. And so back at home, Grandma has a scene where she flips out. She needs her slippers. She's crying hysterically. Matt assures her that she's wearing the slippers, and she's like, no, I need the slippers. I'm not even kidding you, Liz. I have had this with my aunt. Like, I have experienced this same situation, and it is heartbreaking. And this scene also brought me to tears. And
Oh, yeah.
so Matt takes the slippers off Grandma and then puts it in her hands, like, here are your slippers. And she's like,
Right.
thank you so much. Like, she's so upset because she can't really understand. And it's just heartbreaking. But Matt, there's something that switches, and Matt realizes, okay, I really can't handle this. And so after the game, Shelby talks to him and they apologize to each other. And he knows he doesn't know how to take care of Grandma anymore. And Shelby tells him that she's not going anywhere.
She said, it's like, basically, like, she knew she was never
I
leaving.
know,
She's like,
Shelby.
no, I was never planning on going anywhere. That made me, I could, I could cry right now
Yeah, I know.
thinking
Same.
about it.
Yeah.
I loved that. I really was like, oh, that just killed me. That killed me.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
I
love
love
it.
Shelby.
So do
Give me
I.
some more shelves. I hope she doesn't leave.
She's so soft spoken.
She's so soothing.
I love it.
She's just a relaxed human being that Matt like so desperately needs in his life.
Yes. And she has patience. Like, she is going
Yeah.
through the ringer right now, and she
She's
has
a good
not.
caretaker.
She's so good. She's really, really good. So, what's happening with the district is, and funding and school things, is redistricting is up for discussion with the school board because the school needs funding, and the only way funding will happen is if they do redistrict. The problem with this is if they redistrict, then you're going to have two schools. You'll have Dillon and East Dillon, which once was pretty much a shithole, a
Yeah.
cesspool of an education facility, if you will. And half the team lives like, when they redistrict, it's down the middle. And so what we have here are the boosters trying to finagle this line of the districting to get all the good players onto the Dillon Panthers. AKA, this is really fucked up. This is shiesty shit.
Yeah. This is shady stuff.
Yeah. And so Coach walks in on one of their meetings and he doesn't understand what's going on. And Buddy kind of fills him in and then tells him, don't ask questions you really don't want to know or be a part of. Like, this is bigger than you, bigger than Joe, bigger than the boosters. This is about the Dillon Panthers, and we're trying to set us up for the future.
Yeah, like Dillon Panthers are all that matter here.
That's it.
Like that's the number one priority. Whatever we can do to keep this team together, or for the most part together, they're gonna do. Are we shocked by this? No. I mean, the boosters they're literally, that's their main thrill in life, is to care about anything with the Dillon Panthers. Like, they have no other life.
Yeah. And the fact that Buddy says the superintendent knows what we're doing. Like, this, like, we got it. And so what was interesting is after the game, Tammy brings this up to Coach and is like, when I first saw the map of the redistricting, it was a straight line and now it's like a zigzag. Do you know anything about this? And Coach is like, no, I don't know.
He's like,
I'm going to stay out of this and act dumb, even though we know Coach knows because.
Yeah, he's like, well, whatever works.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. All right, last but not least, let's talk about JD. end this game
Mm.
situation. So earlier, JD's in practice. He's distracted. Madison comes to watch, and the coaches don't want him getting distracted. So Wade ends up calling Joe to tell him about his actions. Joe's super pissed. And then he ends up calling Madison's parents, which is like so crazy to me.
Yeah.
Out of
Hmm.
line. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like, absolutely ridiculous. And Madison ends up telling JD about this. So JD's like, are you kidding me? This is crazy that my parents did this. Well, Joe did. And so on the way to the game, Joe gives a speech to JD about ball control, and you just have to focus. And if they win tonight, then they go to state. He's like, are you listening to me? Don't be distracted. And he's in the back seat. I mean, JD's like being a kid. He's on his phone, probably like texting Madison. And
Yeah, absolutely.
right. And Katie's just like, he's got it. Leave him alone.
She's like, it's a ball. It
It's a
gets slippery
ball.
in the water. He's like, yeah, listen to your mom. She knows what she's talking about. I love Katie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's a mom who just wants her son to be happy and understands
Right.
like football is serious, but also he's a kid. So can we lighten up a little bit?
Right. Like there's more to life than football. He can go to parties and have a girlfriend and also play football and also have friends and have a balanced life. So
Yeah.
he's not miserable all the time.
Yeah. So we get to the game. It's pouring rain. Pouring rain. The Panthers are sliding. It's messy, even though coach keeps saying, like, it's a beautiful night for football. Which I'm like, do people like to play in the rain? I don't know. I would be miserable.
Yeah, I guess you just kind of get used to it.
I guess so. And so we see that Joe's pissed at the choices that JD is making. JD is like fucking up. He's fumbling a lot. And then coach like gives him the speech of like, just have fun. Like you got this. Go with what you know. Just listen to the gameplays. Don't
Yeah,
pay
he's like,
attention.
whatever we discussed is what
Exactly.
you're going to do, but also have
Exactly.
fun. This is a football game.
Exactly. And so then coach chooses at the end to not go for the tie and chooses to go for the 2 points. And so this works out. Panthers end up winning. We're going to state. Tim Riggins played a great game, right? JD came through. We think all is well in the world. So after the
Yeah.
game, we're in the car and JD is on the phone with Madison. It's like, oh, yeah, it was cold. Oh, yeah, it was good.
Such a typical teenage conversation. I'm just surprised that he actually even had that in front of his parents. You know, his
Really?
dad said no more talking to Madison.
Yeah. Well, maybe because he thought he won,
Right.
that
He thought, oh,
things
I'm
were
in the
good.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not in Joe's mind. Things were just beginning for him.
Yeah. And so Joe tells JD, hang up the phone. They pull into the Applebee's parking lot. They get out, and Joe wants to have a talk with JD and pretty much flips out on him. You didn't listen to me. What was your problem tonight? And then starts beating him up.
Well, yeah, he's pissed because JD is actually talking back to him
Yeah.
for once. He's
Right.
like, "How am I supposed to, like you're all I do is football and I can't do anything else and you're just so overbearing and
And
whatever he
he's
said.
right. And he's also like, what is your problem? We
We
won.
won.
We won. And Joe's like, you were sloppy. You didn't do what you were told. But it's like he won and he played by the coach. And so then Katie's trying to break it up. And so Tammy
Ugh.
and Eric see this. So they run out and they're the ones that have to pull Joe away from JD. I mean,
This
this
was
scene
so bad.
was so intense.
Yeah.
It was scary.
It was very scary and Katie just like screaming in the background.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what to do because she can't pull this like frantic man off of her son.
Yeah.
And luckily, Coach and Tammy do see. But at first, I was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't interfere. But then as Joe gets closer and closer,
No.
Coach is like, oh, I'm out. I'm going straight to him. And that was, thank God he was there because it could have been really, really bad. Really, really bad.
Yeah. And so the Taylors bring Katie and JD back to their house. And so we have Tammy talking to Katie about it and Kate and trying to console her and just be like, we will deal with this tomorrow. You guys can stay here. And then you have JD and Coach talking outside, and JD just like a scared kid of like, nothing I ever do is good enough. Is this my fault?
Right. And of course, no. And to Coaches, and it makes it a little obvious to me that maybe Coach has some damage like that in his background, because
Yeah.
he just kind of like in his eyes, you can see, I understand. This is not your fault. You know, it's just a game, and your father should have never, no matter if it was your father or whoever, would never put their hands on you.
Right.
And then you hear Katie saying, he literally put his hands on my child. Like, he hit my child. What am I going to do? And I'm like, leave his ass.
Right.
Red flag number one. I mean, there was probably lots of red flags, but this was like the ultimate, which in the chat I kind of asked, do you think this has happened before? But it doesn't seem like it, because Katie was so beyond distraught and upset because of it. So it makes you think it didn't happen, but maybe verbally abusing them
Right.
growing up. So, ugh,
Yeah.
this is so bad.
Yeah, we shall see what happens with this next week. Yeah.
Oh God. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
But we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we have Mike, one of our Total Betty patrons, joining us. So excited.
Oh, yeah. Mike's a great guest.
Yeah. All right. Welcome back from break. We're joined with our Total Betty patron, Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're great.
We're lovely.
If you don't watch us on YouTube, I have to describe the scene here. Mike is wearing a Free Marissa shirt with a Chrismica mug, and his background is Liz and I on the couch.
It's
and,
so cute.
And it looks like Mike is sitting between us. It's really adorable.
It's like we're the angel and the devil on each shoulder. Who is who?
Yeah, who's the angel? Who's the devil, Mike?
He's like, no comment.
I plead the fifth.
Depends on the day. It really depends on the day of who's really going to be who. But Mike, thank you so much for joining us. You were last on in season 2.
Yes, episode
13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us your thoughts on season 3. What do you think?
Way better than season 2. This is like the pickup. A lot more better plots. Characters are better. Like, we're getting the annoying Julie of season 2's done, and we're done with that. She's starting to get a little better now.
Yeah.
We do have some crappy characters, but you know, it's a good season.
Yeah, season 3 is really good. We have some questions from our listeners. Okay. So Kate wants to know, what did you think of Mindy's bridal shower tea party?
Well, I'm drinking tea right now.
What kind of tea are you drinking?
I am drinking David's Tea Cinnamon Rooibos Chai. I went with a caffeine-free option because it's late at night and I'm old.
Yes.
Same. I was telling Liz before we started recording how I didn't have my second cup of coffee today, and I wanted a little jolt of caffeine, but at 7 p.m. I'm like, probably not a good idea because then I'll just be up. So
remember that one time for Gossip Girl when Liz brought that. It was supposed to be, it was a cold brew, and it was,
I think it was like the chocolate covered strawberry one, right? Or something like that.
And it was supposed to be a venti or something, and you only got a grande or a tall. And you're like, thank God, because Michelle was wired.
Wired.
She couldn't sleep.
Wired.
Which is so crazy, because I could like have a shot of espresso and like literally pass out after. Yeah. So that's just me.
It depends. But what did you guys think of the bridal shower tea party?
I liked it. I thought that she should have looked at the weather first and saw that it might have stormed, and not had it outside. But I thought it was a fun idea, different than like I guess what you would have traditionally done, like what TV would have done as a bridal shower.
I mean, it almost seems like a bachelorette party to me. But it was super cute. I've been to that type of bridal shower before, where it's like at a tea room and you have the finger sandwiches and you get to pick your tea and scones. Like, it's just fun. It's just a fun little adventure that you don't get to do very often. So I thought it was a nice gesture. However, it didn't seem like anyone was drinking tea.
No. I think they
It
were
was all
just
beers
using,
and things.
like,
Yeah.
they were putting the alcohol in the teacups.
Exactly.
Yeah. Liz,
Still counts.
your bridal shower is coming up. Do
It
you wish it was tea party themed? Should I text your mom?
No, I
Okay.
don't wish it was tea party themed. I don't
Okay.
like. I'd rather eat the food that I know we're gonna have as opposed to having like little teeny tiny food.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that's just my thoughts. And plus, like you need a little alcohol. Can't have alcohol in a tea room,
I
or
mean,
maybe you could. I don't
you
know. I guess you
could.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to tell when I worked at Dave. Again, I going out top. But when I worked at David C, we used to tell people to like steep their tea in alcohol because some of like my coworkers did that. They would like steep. There was one where my one coworker would steep a tea in gin over and it would just leave it in the fridge overnight.
Ooh, I love that idea.
I
We
mean, it's
tell
just
them all
like
the time to
infusing
mix.
the alcohol.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
so tea and alcohol go very well together.
Sounds
Delish. I want
delicious.
some.
Yes. Kate says 2 weeks in a row at the heartfelt mother-daughter conversations. I love Tyra and Angela's end scene so much. Mike, we talked about this earlier, but tell us your thoughts on that scene.
So that spoiler is my favorite quote. Well, one of my favorite quotes I put was what Angela said to Tyra. It was very emotional. Like I said in the chat for those of you who are on the Discord. If not, that's a perk that we have over on Patreon. We'll be more later at the end of the show about that. But this was like a jam-packed episode, and they definitely ended it with like what happened closer to the end of the episode, with JD and Joe, and like just to end on such a sweet like heartstring, like pull at your heartstring moment, I think was perfect. And I really liked what Angela said to her, and I feel like I kind of resonated with like Tyra at that moment. Like I felt like that was something that like my parents could have said to me, like that they saw me like going on and know that like I was gonna make like I'm gonna whatever I dream for, like I'll be able to get it, and like also, but like they knew it all along, and I feel like that's like always a parent. Like I feel like parents always know your potential, like their potential of their kids, and they try to not push them in the right direction, and they want to make their own like decisions, but they know deep down that who their child is, and that at the end of the day they will like end up okay.
Yeah.
So I felt.
What did you
Yeah.
think about her saying, like, Mindy, she's darling, she's my firstborn, but so predictable?
Yeah, like honestly, once again, that's like, so I'm the baby in my family too, and that's kind of like the like running joke in like my parents, how like my other two siblings are like they love them, but like they kind of just know how they are. But like me, I was kind of like the one that left the nest on my own, did things, but it's like, yeah. So I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it
Yeah.
was great. Kate also says it wasn't entirely clear to me why JD played the way he did in the game. At one point during the game, Katie said, well, he has to do what the coach tells him, but I couldn't tell if that was what he was doing. Coach, we stick to the original plan and protect the ball were pretty ambiguous, or if he was just pissed at his dad and trying to prove something. How do you interpret this? So what do you think, Mike?
I took it as Joe was telling him to do something different. Like, remember what I said in the car, but coach was like, no, we're playing this as we practice. Like, don't listen to your dad, follow our plays.
Yeah. I think that's how I interpreted it as well. Like Joe was kind of throwing what he thought maybe was the best move, just shouting it at him. And poor JD like doesn't know where to look. It's kind of like coach should have been like, you look here. We're gonna look here, look at me, don't look at anyone else. This is what I'm telling you to do, so you do it. But of course, this is his dad that's always up in his business. So that's how I interpreted it as well. Like he didn't do what his dad wanted him to do. And so he's like was torn between what to do, and that kind of made him not perform as well.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder if they were trying to present it as, oh, look at JD being distracted by Madison. I didn't take it that way.
No.
I took it more of like his dad is in his head. He's hearing things from the crowd and then trying to focus on what coach is telling him.
Right. Like it could have just happened even if Madison wasn't in the picture, like Joe just being obnoxious and telling him what to do all the time. that could have just had the same reaction for him, that he just doesn't know what to do, and so he just misses it.
Yeah.
And who was the other guy yelling in the crowd? Was
Like
that just a random? Was that
I don't know. Was that?
a
I think
random
in the chat
jabroni?
someone said that it was Wade, but I don't think
know,
it
but
was him.
I know. I was confused the first time around. And the reason I kept quiet, because we all know how I really understand football. And so first time around, I was like, I think that's just a heckler. But then this time around, when I think it was Vic said
Oh, I think
Wade,
you're
I'm
right.
like, that didn't look like Wade. It looked like some guy next to Joe in the stands.
Yeah. I thought
I
it
was
was
like,
just like another parent.
yeah.
Or like
I thought I interpreted it as like the camera moved so quickly that it looked like it was Wade with the umbrella just like close up on the field, and then it just like went to Joe.
It could be.
But who knows?
I don't know, because I thought in like a long shot with Joe, you also saw the guy
Yeah.
behind.
Oh, maybe. So maybe who the hell knows?
And then I thought, like, why would Wade be yelling a different play than coach? Because they should technically those coaches should all be on the same page.
Yeah.
But then I was like, Michelle, don't say
Keep quiet.
don't say much, because did I do okay this episode, Liz? Do you think I
Yeah.
explained it okay? Okay, good.
Yeah, you got it.
God, that was so embarrassing. I'm like listening. I'm editing last week. I'm like, you're so dumb, Michelle. Like, honestly.
Oh, it was cute. It wasn't
cute.
It
Like,
To be fair, though, this show, like, I know it's about football, but it's also not about football. Like,
I know
you guys don't like, you always like talk about how you kind of skip over the football part. And you're like, oh, right, there's football, but it's kind of like a B plot, sort of.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this episode, well, the next week, it's been like the last quarter has been football heavy.
Michelle, quarter, good job.
Thanks so much for noticing, Mike. Thank you.
right. Like the plays. You have to kind of like pay attention to the plays.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. No, but next week, it's football heavy, and it'll make sense why. But moving on, Will's question: what will the end result of this Joe and JD McCoy story be? This was very intense and could scar JD for life, or maybe he gets over it. What do you think?
Oh, I have no idea. I feel like it would really I'd feel good if Katie was like, yeah, let's just go and move out for a little bit and have our distance from him, because he is a toxic person that that just should be punished for his actions. Like, he shouldn't be involved in JD's game anymore. Like, he shouldn't be allowed to come. Coach should not allow him to come. Honestly, they should get a restraining order against him, because you put a hands on a kid, you're not allowed to come. That's not happening. I would love for that to happen. I feel like we might be bringing them into next season, which I'm not looking forward to, because I can only imagine what this type of trauma does to a kid and how he would react and then maybe act out, and the way his dad is portrayed, maybe he's seeing that and not really knowing like what the right personality trait to like uphold from your genes, like.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that going sour, and the kids maybe not liking him, and maybe I'll finally get this why everyone hates JD McCoy thing, because right now he's just a kid that has a parent that is an emotional abuser, basically, and now has literally put his hands on me, and now I can't imagine you coming out unscathed from that.
Right. Mike, have you watched ahead?
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember anything with this?
No. I had said in the chat, I forgot, like, when we first saw JD and Joe, and I was like, why is he giving off like abusive father vibes? And I think I even mentioned it in the chat, and no one responded to it.
Crickets.
And then I was like, I wonder if it's because this happens in the like a couple episodes. And then when I got to this one, I was like, that's why. Okay, there it is.
There it is.
I forgot it happened.
He still reminds me very much of a even worse Dan Scott. Like, I
yeah.
just get that vibe from him that the kid has had just so much pressure his whole life, to be the best because there's something in Joe's pathetic life that he didn't achieve. So now he's pushing it on his kid. And now he snaps and hits his kid for being actually just sticking up for himself and just being like, you're the problem. It's not me. I'm not looking forward to more of that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Moving on, Vic has a couple of questions. She asks, do you have a place you celebrate every time, like a certain restaurant? So as we know, Tyra originally, I think, pitched the idea of having the shower at Seven Senoritas. So do you guys have a restaurant that you like to go to celebrate events?
I always try to mix it up. I like
me
to
too.
try different types of places. But the religious thing we did in high school was after football games and basketball games, we always went to Friendlies.
Yep.
That was the thing to do, and that was a very high school thing. And I mean, I don't think I would ever eat there again as an adult. I think the last time I was there was when Randy and I were very early dating, and his cousin came in from North Carolina, and we took her to Friendlies. And we ate ice cream. But like
Why?
actually eating food, I don't know. I like Friendlies ice cream, but then
no,
again,
that's fine. I'm just like, she comes from North Carolina. And
Oh,
you're like,
I
let's
don't-
go to Friendlies.
it was because I don't know, because it was like in the area, and we were trying to figure out what to eat. Like, obviously, I would never choose this place, but reminiscent of high school, we always went to Friendlies after a game.
Mike, I want to hear your answer, but I just want to give my little rant about a Friendlies. What?
About Friendlies?
Yes. Okay. So there is a Friendlies by our local mall, and the sign is so fucking tiny.
It's this little.
I don't understand it, and it triggers me. Okay, Mike.
I know that. I know because
Yeah.
I've said this I was like, why is that sign so small? Like, it's not even the main sign. It's just a little tiny one on the side.
But people still know what it is, so their reputation already gets. So they don't. It doesn't matter what their sign is. Like
It's
people
true.
know,
Yeah.
and
But,
it's a talking point. See, you guys are talking about it.
That's
It's
true.
It's probably all a PR stuff.
In the marketing.
If it was a PR stunt, then I'd be impressed. I think someone screwed up on the measurements, and no one wants to pay for a new sign. But it's been like this for years.
Mhm.
Mike, where do you like to go to celebrate?
Okay, so I'm big on like picking what place has like what deals are on.
Ooh.
So we have this place in my hometown called Krabby Joe's, and on Tuesdays was wing night. So it used to be like 39-cent wings. Now I think it's like 89 cents because everything goes up. But when we were in like high school or university, it was like 39 or 49-cent wings. So that was like our Tuesday thing. Boston Pizza had fishbowl Fridays, so you'd go get a fishbowl.
Wait.
A pizza place?
Boston
Pizza
Pizza had fishbowl
Fridays. So they would give you a drink in a fishbowl. So like your cocktail was in a fishbowl, and it was $5.
Okay, because I'm like,
same page.
Boston Pizza Fish. We have a lot happening at one establishment.
Yeah, fishbowl
Yeah.
Fridays. So that I went to
Nice.
celebrate when I got into grad school. I went to fish because there's a Friday, so went to fishbowl Fridays. So yeah, we went to like whatever had a it was like kind of when we went out to the bars too. Like every place kind of has their night. So depending on what day of the week it was, you went. Jack Astor's is also a good hit that we kind of always go to.
That's a cute name.
It's like I actually was just there at Christmas time, and I wouldn't go back. They changed everything, and it's weird. They have like buttons on the walls that if you like push it, it makes the lights flicker, like party scene. And you can like choose the playlist now on your phone. You can like choose a song to go, and it was very strange. I didn't like it. I was not a fan of it. But like, yeah, Jack. So it's like it's your typical like burgers, fry, that type of
Jack
place.
Astor's makes me think like you need hand sanitizer.
No, that would be Jack's, the bar. That's the underage. You would walk. That was the like bar that was that and Jim Bob's.
Serves underages.
Wait.
Jim Bob's, which we used to call rim jobs. But anyways, that was Wednesday nights where you go Jim Bob's because it's like $2, or dollar beer nights. But at Jack's, you would walk in and you would feel the second you walk from outside, you would go from like, let's say -10-degree weather outside, you walk in and it's like 50 degrees. You just feel everyone's body heat just like hits you like a wall, and you're just like, oh, everyone's like on top of everyone. Oh, it was so dirty.
No,
so
thank
dirty.
you. I want nothing to do with that.
That's Jax. That you need him. Oh, a friend of mine, he passed out on the toilet seat, like his head on the toilet seat. And I was like, did you wash and bleach? Because the place is dirty. Jax, dirty.
Gross.
That place
I feel bad for him.
Jack Astor's, not so much. It's like a normal family restaurant.
Are you saying Jack Astor's or Jack Asses?
Jack Astor's, Asters.
Okay.
Jack Astor's.
Gotcha. Well,
and their thing was like a donkey. That was their like mascot.
That makes sense.
Cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
Thank you for the rundown of the Canadian
Sorry, that
bar scene.
was a rant.
I like it. You know me. I am like a Canadian wannabe. So,
yep.
Yeah. I'm like you, Liz. I like to switch it up, and depending on what I like to eat and what we're in the mood is how I choose where we celebrate.
I feel like when we got out of high school and it was like early college days, our friendlies changed to Applebee's.
Yeah. The
like
deals.
we would go there for like the 2 furs and the half off apps, and we'd stay out until like 1 a.m. to eat there. But I don't frequent Applebee's either these days.
No. Same here. What was your favorite video game to play?
Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
That's Ant's
on
favorite.
N64. Yeah, like I can go grab. It's right. It's.
that.
I would normally, I normally go grab
Oh, I
things.
know.
I would go grab, but it's over there.
Love a visual aid.
Is yours Mario?
Mine, I love Spyro.
Yeah,
On PlayStation, but probably Yoshi's Island or Super Mario Brothers 2 or Super Mario World. Or Mario Brothers The Lost Levels. Oh my god, that game is so difficult. Yeah.
You know what? Sam and I would always play Simpsons Road Rage.
That's a great one too.
That one's so good. I wouldn't say that's my favorite. Well, we always play that, and I always played American Idol. My cousins and I were obsessed with American Idol.
Didn't
and
you love
all
The
of the
Sims
songs.
And Roller Coaster Tycoon? I thought you would have said
is
The
that
Sims.
like
and Roller Coaster.
I don't
video
consider that a video game.
No?
Though. I call that a computer game.
Computer game. Yeah.
But it's still okay. Sure.
But if it was in the same category, hands down The Sims.
Sims.
Hands down.
100%. My favorite.
Yeah. Loved.
Sims so much.
I miss it so much. Yeah.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Ant loves that one. I've never played, but that's his favorite. Would you go watch a game like their game in the pouring rain? That's a no from me. So,
Well, what if Ant was playing? No?
Love you, babe. No. Maybe I would get one of those bubbles that I could sit in. I see people have those at games.
Did you see those new, I guess, beanbag things? I've just heard this on the radio. There's these things now, portable beanbags. So you just like wear them around you. So then anywhere you want to go, you just like sit back and you're on a beanbag chair. I just heard this on the radio today. I was like, what is this?
I'll take it.
Yeah. Is it like on you at all times, or you have to like open it?
Yes, it's on. It's like I don't know that you like put it. I don't know. I didn't look into it, but I guess how they explain it, you like put it on, and it just like sits like behind you all the time.
I'm thinking it's like a giant bubble coat, and then you're like, I'm going to sit down, and it'll support me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to invest in one of these.
I'm totally in. Do you guys would you go to a game in the pouring rain?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I was in high school, my boyfriend was Tim Riggins, then I'd sit at a game with an umbrella and lots of layers. It's also Texas. Like how absolutely cold could it be?
It can get cold in December. They looked cold.
Right, because it's Christmas time.
That's right.
A little bit of Christmas, just a little bit.
I would, if just before that we heard Hilary Duff say to Chad Michael Murray that waiting for you was like waiting for rain in this drought, and then all suddenly
disappointing.
Yes, and then all suddenly it starts pouring rain, and May Angels Lead You In starts playing, or Hear You and Me, sorry, by Jimmy Eat World, and he like runs off the field. Then yes, I would be there for that.
Such a good movie. Except when you hear the shit about behind the scenes, not so much. And that's the tea. And that's the tea.
Exactly. All right, some rapid fire, Mike, just for you. Send Tyra, Matt, Julie, Tim, and Jason to our Betty shows. I already see Tim looking like a surfer, so I'm sending him to the OC.
Tim. I can see him on Tree Hill. I could see him being a basketball player or River Court. No, sorry, I see him as a River Court boy.
Yeah,
kind of with Junk and with Fergie. Matt might be the OC. I can see him on the soccer team with Ryan. Oh wait, did that happen? Who knows?
could have been.
Julie, I could see Julie on Gossip Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Tyra, I would put her on my favorite Betty show, Riverdale.
That is not your favorite Betty show. You troll. You are a troll, and that is not true.
But I could see her on Riverdale. I feel like Tyra could be in there, you know.
And what about Jason?
Jason, the OC.
Yeah. I could see him on One Tree Hill too, I think.
Yeah.
That small town vibe.
Yeah, I can see most of them in One Tree Hill.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Tim, I feel like Tyra could be on Riverdale. She'd have like some power. I don't know. Don't they
leave her out of this?
We're not sending her there.
We'll never send her there.
That's all the that's all the questions we have. Mike, do you have any questions for this episode or for us?
Yeah. So because you brought up, well, I had this question before, but you did bring up Liz's bridal shower. Did either of you do a registry? Was it as fun as it looks, just walking through a store scanning things? I don't know. It looks fun.
I did a virtual one. Ooh. So yeah, I didn't scan anything.
Same. I didn't have the scanning experience. Everything's online these days. You know, we're post-COVID. I'm post-COVID bride, so I don't need to go into the stores.
Even pre-COVID, 2015, it was all digital. So
right.
Yeah.
See, my sister though, she did that.
This is the thing that goes with it, you know. It's like buying CDs. You know, there's no joy. Anyway, we're not going to get on this tangent of
no. You're right, Mike.
The old days.
I miss the old days too. Absolutely.
Do you know how long it took me to find the only place I could buy the Funny Girl CD, because I live in Canada and not in New York, was on Amazon, and I had to call them multiple times because they were not delivering my package, and then they canceled their order on me, saying that I refused delivery. Anyways, we're not getting into this. I got really mad at them. I had to wait for 3 extra days for the album, and I was upset, but I got it, and it's all good.
You can call Amazon?
Yeah, customer service. I got it for free. They gave me a $22 credit because I was like, you guys aren't even trying to deliver this to me. I pre-ordered it a month ago. I said to them, I pre-ordered this because I wanted it on release day.
Did you tell them you're flipping a table?
And now it's it's like $8 more than it was when I paid for it for pre-order. So of course I wanted it.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I got really angry, but because no one sells CDs anymore. That's not. And this happens when things are a monopoly. You only have one thing, and they can do whatever they want. And too bad. Anyway, it's I miss the olden days.
I do too. Very much so.
So did you find this redistricting plot kind of just random, thrown in, like it kind of came out of nowhere, or did you kind of see like what do you think is gonna like happen with that? So that's more for Liz.
Yeah, Liz, you can take over because I have my answer, but
I could assume that something was going to happen. Obviously, everyone has been teasing like next season things change and storylines are different and characters come in. So I could assume that something, maybe a college is what I predicted, would make sense. Like we meet kids in college. That's why they become main characters, whatever. But this actually makes more sense. And this could jeopardize Coach's, maybe his job a little bit. So they needed to stir up the pot. And yeah, I mean, I like it. I definitely think it's interesting. Did I see it coming? No, but also they need the money. So they were going to do whatever was necessary for that.
So
Right.
do
I
you
mean,
think this?
oh, go ahead,
So,
Mike.
sorry, I was just gonna say. So do you think they are gonna split? Like, do you think there will be an East Dillon? And
Yeah,
what
I
do you
think so.
think? Like, where's Coach gonna be?
Right.
Because you did talk about earlier,
with Wade.
yeah, that you were worried that Coach might lose his job, like that they might
Yeah.
see
I mean,
someone else
I
better.
wasn't, but then people were thinking about that and then made me think about that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
So I'm thinking maybe Coach will stool. I think maybe Wade will take on Dylan and then Coach will have to go to East Dillon because everyone is fed up with his antics and and I don't know. They have obviously we've talked about this in the past, but like they have no respect for him. So they'll probably just kick him to the curb. If Wade's gonna do what the boosters want and he's gonna get them to victory, they're not gonna care who it is. So whoever can get them to that W, if you will, then they're gonna do it.
Right. Because we still have to go to state.
Right. So are they going to lose state and they're gonna blame Coach? And then they're gonna have to make some adjustments.
Yeah. And I mean, this whole redistricting, as we opened season 3, Tammy was principal and they had no funding for anything.
Right. So it's like full circle from the
Right.
beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Then I have 2 more questions. What do you think's next for Matt's grandma for Lorraine?
Good
Like, where do you think she's
question.
going? Like, do you think is she going to be in season 4? Is she?
I think maybe less in season 4 and 5. You know, when you put older people on shows, I immediately go and think that they're not going to be with us the entirety of the show. So I could see that happening maybe by the end of the show. But I think next season they're gonna have to move her into an assisted living. Maybe they can get her like a Medicaid bed because obviously they have no money. They have no money to put her there. So if they could get some funding somehow for her to go and have a bed in an assisted living, and that way Matt and Shelly can kind of have a little bit more peace of mind, even though it's not an ideal situation because, you know, assisted living, they're assisting your living, but she needs like 24-hour care at this point. So maybe there's a special place in the area that will have like a specialty dementia floor or something like that where they could bring her and Matt can visit her, hopefully with ease. Hopefully it's not too far away. So yeah, I think season 4 will be getting Lorraine into an assisted living, or maybe even by the end of this season. Maybe we'll set that up. And then maybe season 5, she's no longer here. Not that I'm wishing it. Just my teen drama brain, you know? I mean, hey, literally Whitey, I was thinking Whitey was dying the entire show. And I like had stress for 9 seasons thinking that Whitey was gonna die.
For all we
And
know,
he
he
didn't.
could have died.
It's
They
true.
never touched upon things that happened to him. So,
Or Royal.
or well,
Don't get us started with Royal.
And then, okay, so my last question. Now, let's say I'm going to set the scene. Say it's a Saturday night. You're, I don't know, early 20s, and there's a concert going on in your, well, there are 2 concerts, same night, same time in your town. The one concert is Crucifixorious, and the second one is a Tyler Posey concert. Which one are you going to?
Oh, come on.
well, I'm probably going to Crucifixorious because I discovered Tyler Posey at 35.
Right, exactly. That's so true.
And
Tyler Posey wasn't around then.
Yeah, and I discovered Friday Night Lights in my 20s. So probably Crucifixorious. I really want a Crucifixorious t-shirt.
Yeah, we should definitely get that.
Mm-hmm.
We should definitely get that.
Yes.
I guess I have to agree with Michelle. But also, I didn't watch Friday Night Lights until this year, so, and I knew Tyler Posey way before. And you know what? Switch it all up. I knew Tyler Posey way before I knew about Friday Night Lights.
Right.
So I'm going to Tyler Posey show. Because in my like mid to late 20s, I did know Tyler Posey because I watched Teen Wolf. So
there you go. Mike, where are you going?
Tyler Posey.
Yeah. I mean,
was
it's a
such a
great
good
show.
show.
It's a great concert.
It was
but
so good.
facts are facts where I'm going. Yeah. It's a good question.
That's all I have.
I like it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Thank you.
Let's go into favorite quote. What was your favorite of the episode?
So I have two.
Okay.
The one is I'm not here to solve all your problems, Garrity. I'm here to support you no matter what choice you make. That's why I'm here. I'm your boyfriend, and I think I'm a pretty darn good one from Tim.
Yes.
And then the other one is I know one thing with all my heart, that you are going to have everything that you're dreaming of. You're going to get everything you're reaching for.
Beautiful.
Love. Liz, your favorite?
Turkey burgers, really? I'm just going to throw a wrench in your sentimental moment. When JD said, the way he said turkey burgers, like he was 5 and mom was making chicken nuggets and french fries. And he was like, turkey burgers, really?
Turkey burgers are so good.
No, they're great. I love turkey burgers, but just
So
like the
good.
way his reaction was so funny to me. And I also loved Buddy. That's good, Tim Riggins, because he can't just call him Tim. That's good, Tim Riggins. One word. Like Noel Kahn, Tim Riggins.
Always Tim Riggins to Buddy. Always.
I love it.
I have 7 kinds of tea. It's going to be magical. Tyra.
So good.
I love it. MVP and shittiest. Let's go with Mike first. Your MVP.
So I had Tim as my MVP, just for his moment with Lyla, and then an MVP for acting. I gave it to the actor who plays Grandma, because that the slipper scene and the fall, that was just an amazing performance. So I threw that one in there.
I agree.
The fall was comical to me. I know I shouldn't. I'm just like having a moment where Michelle had it in Pretty Little Liars, but that is obviously more laughable than this moment. But it felt like a little bit of a car commercial. Like, I've fallen and I can't get up. I don't know. But anyway, afterwards, I obviously cried. So I'm full of shit. But
there you go. Shame on you.
But I also picked Tim. I loved Tim in this episode. I loved his support. I loved his boyfriend spiel, him trying to get Lyla to feel things again, and telling Buddy that Lyla does miss him. I don't know. It was good. He was really good.
I chose Tyra because I thought she threw a beautiful shower, and I loved her talk with Angela, of her just being vulnerable in that scene. I really enjoyed her. Lisa sent us an email how she thought she was behind, but it turns out she's 3 weeks ahead and watched the finale. And so she gave her MVP to Mindy for wanting a tea party bridal shower.
So she had never seen any of the show before.
And she,
I guess.
Yeah.
And so now she's missed and she saw the finale.
She saw the finale, yeah. But we had votes for Riggins, Angela. Will chose Madison. Her boyfriend won the game, and she is so great, and she threatens Joe's position with JD.
Okay, sure.
I was like, that's a bold choice. Yeah. Shittiest, Mike?
I mean, it's pretty obvious, Joe.
Yeah, across the board.
Oh, he's infuriating.
Hey, at least you arrived, Liz. Welcome.
It's not that I didn't know it was coming. I just, until that point, I just saw him as like a dick dad. Like, he's just that type of person that puts a lot of pressure on their kid and is just a dick about it and doesn't really see past the pressure they're putting on their kid. But he took it to another level tonight. So he's a shit. He's probably the biggest piece of shit on the show.
Yes.
At this point.
It was very reminiscent of like Degrassi, with for those of you who watched Degrassi Next Generation, but Craig and his dad. Like, that's just how, even throughout the whole thing, I was like, he's giving me Craig's dad vibes.
Yes. Oh, I love Degrassi. I would love for us to do a Degrassi podcast, Michelle, but there's like 50 million Degrassi podcasts.
Yeah.
And
there's like
it's
also
a lot of show.
Seasons, yeah.
It's too many shows.
It's too much.
Too much.
One day I will watch it. I say it every time. I have to figure out where to watch
when
original. Oh, and when.
Just a
True.
lot.
And when. Yeah.
This is why you have DVDs. But it's not a thing anymore.
I like when Mike gets like all his hands are up. They're going in and out of the green technology.
People make fun of me because I still go to the bank with like one
a
Saturday.
deposit.
No, to pay my bills. I go to the bank and I get them to stamp my bill. Because the bank, like 5 or 6 years ago, the bank said they weren't doing the stamps anymore, but this one location near me, they still do a stamp. You just have to ask, and they will stamp it with the bank stamp, which is TD, which you guys all bank with, which is like shocker thing. But I would go on I just went this past Saturday, so I paid all my bills, deposit any checks, I deposited cat, I do all my banking.
Oh my God. I never have cash. Nowhere do I ever go to the bank. When I have to deposit a check, I just do it through my app. I hate going to the bank or anything.
I don't trust computers.
I have so many questions, but I'm not going to waste that right now on this podcast. But Mike, I'm going to be messaging you about the stamping.
Yeah.
Because I don't really understand it.
I can send you. I have a picture because I sent it to my friend. I'll send it to you.
That would be great. And if you could just write a little note of like how it all
an
goes
explanation.
down.
Yeah.
Okay. I can.
Okay. Anyway, let's continue on. Coach's Corner, favorite moment list. What do you have?
I'm gonna give it to Angela. I'm gonna throw a wrench in the Coach's Corner again.
We've chosen this now. So
I just thought her speech to her daughter was very necessary. And like Mike said earlier, the contrast of watching Joe with his son to watching Angela with her daughter, it was night and day, and something that was necessary for the audience to kind of just like feel safe again. And I thought she was great. I mean, that was probably the best moment that Angela has had on the show thus far, because she's been iffy sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when Randy walked in, because he hasn't even gotten up to season 2. He has only finished season 1. He's like, "Oh, is she drinking again?" I'm like, "Oh, we've gotten so far from there."
Yeah, she really has come so far. Mike, what do you have?
Also Angela, and to add, it's also the stark contrast of like JD and just like status wise, like you see like stereotypically TV wise what Angela and Tyra's like lifestyle is and what their status is, whereas you see JD and his dad looks all prim and proper, all good outside appearances, but it's all on the inside. So yes, I picked Angela for a non-Mr. and Mrs. Coach moment.
I agree. Yep. I also chose Angela. We've come so far with her, so far. And even even earlier in this season where she was like, you should hang on to cash because boys like that don't come around like that all the time.
That's true.
So I'm proud of her. All right. For this episode, what emoji do you think we should pair with it? I was thinking rain.
Did we do that already? That one episode when the boys have to do
wind sprints?
The wind sprints. I think we did wind. I think we might have done wind. I don't know. We could do rain.
There's like a cloud. There's an umbrella with rain.
I'm thinking cloud and rain.
And where can you put that emoji?
Where could you put that, Mike? Because we don't have a Panther of the Week. So where could you stick that?
Put that in an Apple Podcast review with something with the caption like, "Don't bring around a cloud to rain on this parade," like Leah Michelle in Funny Girls performance. The real LM, Lisa Michelle, are blowing this podcast out of the water, and it's so good. Definitely no raining on this parade with a Betty podcast. I've had that rehearsed for days. I was like, I gotta set this up. I gotta be like, okay, this is what the emoji is gonna be. This is how I'm gonna bring it in. I have to rap somehow. I had this all the board just had it all planned out. Be like, okay, I gotta get them to gotta say this so that Michelle says this So then I can say this, and then boom, I had it.
Well,
And
it worked out for you, Mike. It worked out.
I did it. I did it.
It's amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And I would love someone to write that verbatim in an Apple Podcast review with the little rain emoji. And we want you to do that so we know you've made it this far, that you're listening and enjoying the show. But if you've already left us a review because you love the show so much and rated us 5 stars, you can send us the emoji through an Instagram DM, Total Betty Podcast Network. You can email it, talkintexasforever@gmail.com, Discord, Patreon, so many avenues. Just let us know you're listening.
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. All right, let's tell us who's our booster of the week.
Our booster is Ashley.
Ashley?
Yeah, we haven't heard from Ashley in a while, and she was in our Topic Tuesday this past week, and it was so nice to get to hear about her wedding cake flavor. That was the question I posed in the chat because I am, as you know, fitting for this episode, planning a wedding. So I was just curious as to what cake flavors people enjoy and what they had at their wedding. And we had a nice chat, and it got the conversation flowing with other brides that we have as patrons. And I loved it. And it was so much fun. We haven't heard from Ashley in a while, and I hope she was doing well. And it was just really great to hear from her.
Yay, Ashley. What was her cake flavor?
Hers was funfetti cake with peanut butter and jelly. And then her grandmother's or her husband's grandmother's homemade chocolate frosting recipe. Doesn't that sound good?
Yes, please.
I hope I didn't butcher that, but I really thought about eating that. So I think I got it right.
I love
And then I told
funfetti.
Randy about it, and he was like, that sounds amazing. Can we do that? And I was like, well, I can't steal her idea now.
Oh, you could just call it the Ashley.
Yeah.
I could. Aww.
Yeah. I love
Sounds good. My mouth is watering.
Do they have funfetti in Canada, Mike?
Okay, so well, it's not called funfetti.
What's it called?
What do they call it?
I don't even rainbow cake or something, or rainbow spread. I forget what it's called. It might be called
fun.
It might be called funfetti now, but it wasn't growing up. And it's also impossible to make from scratch. You have to buy I know a friend of mine that tried doing not buying the box mix and tried making a funfetti cake, and it just didn't work.
Vanilla cake with sprinkles, it didn't work.
Yeah, it all melted, it didn't turn out well. So I guess they kind of trap you. You gotta buy
Yeah. Interesting.
I knew you were gonna ask that, Michelle.
I mean, you know.
Canada
I'm
things.
so predictable. I am the Mindy of the group, really. Liz is Tyra and I'm Mindy. So predictable.
Did you hang up your ornaments?
My ornaments are I'm working on displaying
my tree.
them. Your tree is still up?
Yes, it's pathetic. I don't want to talk about it. I got sick, then Randy got sick, and then the past 2 weekends we've been doing wedding stuff, and every single Sunday at 9 p.m. I'm like, this fucking tree is still up. What are we gonna do about this damn tree? And it's still up. And Randy's like, we'll just keep it up until next year. I'm like, absolutely not.
Valentine's Day tree.
Gotta go. But I did put my milk pitcher on the tree so that I remember to put it away with the other ornaments for next year.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep them out, and they're just gonna go on our bar cart, which honestly is a Canadian grocer.
It's a Canadian bar cart. That's all it is.
That's all I have. That's all we have. Candy.
Well, there's
chips,
some Betty
chocolate,
Buzz. That's not Canadian.
And Betty Buzz, and but it's pretty funny.
Did the card still smell? Did you guys smell the ink on the card?
We did smell it, but it didn't smell.
Oh, it smelled And
sorry,
those the white things. So the white ones that have the nuts in the middle with the chocolate. So because you showed it in the thing. So they have PDV on them, which is my dad's initials, because they're his iron. You make that on an iron. You put flour. It's a lot of work. You have to put it in on the stove and then flip it. And then flip it again, and then you make those, and then you fill them the next day.
Thank you so much for all that effort. It was so nice.
Mike sent us an awesome Christmas care package, and we ate through the goodies. I shared some of the cookies with Aunt, and he was like, "This is so good." I was like, "Delicious."
Yeah, everything was so good. The black licorice, because you don't like black licorice, but Liz does, right?
I loved them. I loved it.
I still ate it though. It was good.
Yeah.
It was we went through everything.
We did. We were slobs.
They go good with coffee You can dunk them in coffee, or they might also go well with tea, which is funny that I bring that up since we talk about tea a lot. And I know normally this is where I would talk about ice cream, but I feel like some people have dairy sensitivity and they might get too much dairy already on the We Are Liars podcast. So I thought I'd mix it up, especially since there was a tea bridal shower. So today I paired this episode with a tea called so it's David's Tea Organic Stormy Night. So it's a traditional Mexican hot chocolate taste with multi chocolate with notes of cinnamon, vanilla, and a creamy hint of coconut. It's both vegan and kosher. So thought it was a
that
good.
Sounds delish.
Yeah.
Wow, what a cool tea.
Yes. So I picked this one because things brewing, you got tea brews, you got also the brewing of the storm that was happening, and kind of going with that, we have in literary devices like they use pathetic fallacy, where kind of the weather reflects what's going on. It sets the theme, the tone, and that is perfectly set by a storm, because you do have kind of the melancholy of both of Lyla. She doesn't know what to do now. She got into Vanderbilt, but she doesn't have the money. She doesn't have a family. She has no one. She's lost, but she's got Tim. Tim's there for her. We have Tyra. She also feels lost, doesn't know what she's going to do about, once again, with college. You got Matt with the whole grandma situation, all this melancholy, all this sadness, which kind of reflected in the storm, the whole JD situation, kind of this all buildup of things brewing, kind of like a nice storm, like a nice thunderstorm. And we did have rain at the end, and I thought that this tea was perfect for that, given the name.
Wow.
Very nice, Mike.
Oh.
Beautiful, Mike, as always.
I love that tea. Sounds so good.
I know.
It's a Halloween tea.
So
it's around Halloween.
We love Halloween.
Even better. That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that, Mike.
No problem.
We appreciate you and your creativity.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Liz, for next week, it's the penultimate.
Oh, wow. Really? It is. Holy moly. We've made it.
Season 3, episode 12, Underdogs. And
Okay.
your quote, JD, you're out, Coach Taylor.
Okay. All right. So is Matt Saracen back as QB? Can they do that? Can they switch him back to QB? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how that works like in high school football.
You're asking Michelle about football. I think that might be your first mistake. That might be your first mistake. Just kidding, Michelle.
I'm posing the question like to the abyss. To the audience.
I know, but I'm not going to. I actually do know, but I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, so my prediction is Matt is going to step in as QB1, and
are we winning state or are we losing state?
Is state next week?
Yes.
Okay, so my prediction is QB1 goes to Matt. Maybe a scout will be there and they will be interested in him. And now he'll have a decision. Will he go to college? Will he stay close to grandma? What's going to happen with JD? He's going to be out, but what does that mean to for the rest of his storyline for next week? Maybe Joe will try and talk to him. He's not really going to be about it. Maybe coach will take JD out also because he's not performing well. Plus he had that trauma happen to him. And I don't know.
That's good. I mean, that's really, yeah.
That's all I got. But are they going to, I think they're going to lose state though, regardless.
Okay, they're going to lose state and Matt will be QB1.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Good predictions. Mike, do you
want to predict? They already won state
anything?
once, so.
Even though.
Well, who knows if that quote's about football? JD, you're out. That might be about anything. It might not be football.
Madison.
It could be.
Madison could say you're getting the boot. I'm not into it anymore.
Right.
You're out. Maybe he's out of Dillon and has to go to East Dillon. Maybe they're going to do that.
Maybe.
That could happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm just spitballing here. I have no idea. I actually
Mike has no recollection of what happened.
Nothing. It's gone. It's gone. Like, I couldn't even tell you what happens in the next 2 seasons. Like, I know one plot of a character that that's coming, Liz, that you've said that. I just know that person's plot-ish, but not.
I look forward to that plot. I think
It will come. I think it'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Like
I
when
know
you're
what happens
watching.
with the redistricting. I remember that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah.
All right. Last but certainly not least, we have Wolves football poetry corner. Ball control. Ball control is crucial in wet weather. You don't want to fumble the ball or it will be hard to win the game. While the Collette clan has a ball at their bachelorette party, JD has ball control issues up until the very end of the game. Off the field, JD has trouble keeping his eye on the ball while he is distracted by a cute redhead. Matt gives up control of his situation with his grandma by admitting that she needs more help than he can give, and Joe McCoy loses all control while beating his son.
Oh, good one. The
dark,
name
but it was
ball
really
control is just really funny.
Yeah, I was trying not to giggle and I giggled because ball control. I was like, how many times do I have to read ball control?
I learned today because I was listening to the team. Sorry to bring this back to teamwork, but it's about ball control. That when you run playing lacrosse, you actually have to cradle. It's called cradling. You have to rock the ball back and forth so that you can keep it in your net. So ball control.
Ball control.
Ball control, y'all. Well, Mike, as always, a pleasure. I'm so glad you were able to join us. Thank you so much.
I'd clear my schedule. Not even Leah Michelle can keep me from being on a Total Betty podcast. And that's like commitment there.
That's
right?
what I want to hear.
I don't believe that. I really don't believe that, but we will accept it. Thank you again for the goodies that you sent us.
Yes, thank you. They were delish. I'm dreaming about them.
I know. Thank you for being a loyal Betty patron. Thank you for using us as your background and wearing a free Marissa t-shirt and being so creative with the tea, like all of it. You're the best and we love you and we appreciate you. So thank you so much, Mike.
Love you and appreciate the both of you. And thank you for never raining on my parade.
We'll be back next week for episode 12, Underdogs.